Hey yo, he put free money where the mic is. He got it on lock like Rikers. Green rebates get you paid, so a lot of people like us. Money Talks Podcast, watch it on all your devices. Woo! Nick, thank you so much for sitting down. Welcome to the Money Talks Podcast. How you feeling? How's MJ Biz been so far?
It's been great so far.
Nice. You gotten in any trouble yet? Has it been all work, all play, something in the middle?
I've tried to minimize the Las Vegas shenanigans, but some of it, seeps in a little bit all the time anyway. But,
How long have you been going to MJ Biz? Like, what is this? Like your 10th time?
No, I'm relatively new to the industry, so it's only my second time here. The companies that I own have been here a longer time, but I'm kind of new to it. So,
cool.
I'm an investor and a financier by training. Mm-hmm. So I've only kind of recently come around and started to play around in this space. So now I've bought and turned around a couple companies, and that's what I'm here for. And I've assimilated enough over a short period of time that I'm doing other talks on lighting and things like that.
Nice.
Although 2 years ago I knew nothing about it.
Same. I'm 3 months in, and this is all just like a whirlwind to me. I'm learning a lot, but it's like an overload of information, and my brain just doesn't function fast enough. So, but I want to learn from you. I want to know like how you got into the cannabis industry. 2 years ago, you got in, and your background is mainly investing, finance, traditional.
Exactly.
Right?
So I spent my whole corporate career in basically Wall Street type of environment, doing financing and leasing of assets, commercial aircraft, ships, trains, big ticket assets, hundreds of millions of dollars. So when I left the corporate world, I came off a position of being chief credit officer and chief investment officer of a $20 billion finance portfolio.
Wow.
So, mergers and acquisitions, restructuring, all the big, big boy finance stuff.
Yeah.
So I had all that skill set and turning around and fixing things. And then I decided to apply it originally to much smaller businesses after I left the big ticket world. And so my first few years on my own under what's called Warburg Capital, my main investment company, I was doing small business loans, turnarounds. I actually advised on an airline bankruptcy, but focused more on small businesses instead of big, giant multinationals. Cool. And that's rewarding because you save a small business, a family-owned business, you have friends for life.
Right.
That's always cool.
Yeah.
And so someone I went to college with was at ScynceLED. And he had told me that, look, this company's got some issues, there's been some mismanagement, things like that, but they've got great technology. You should go look at it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I'm not really sure if I want to, go feet first into the cannabis world or cannabis-adjacent, suppliers. Mm-hmm. And he came back to me then like a month later and said, there's another deal, but it fell apart. You should really go talk to these guys. Next thing you know, 3 months later, I bought the defaulted debt, swapped it for equity, took over the company. 6 months after that, I did the same thing with another company called Dual Draft. So airflow and tray systems is Dual Draft. SCYNCE is a high-end LED company with spectrum adjustable and optic lights. The thing that attracted me to both of those was really good technology, true differentiation, patents, passionate people, real science behind what they're trying to deliver.
Right.
Because that's a reason to exist. The problem is, I look around this show and so many lighting companies and I see different airflow solutions. If you can't truly differentiate and really make a difference in the effectiveness of that grow room, you probably don't have a reason to exist unless you're just a commodity producer, race to the bottom, cheap, lowest cost producer.
Right.
So
you're undercutting everyone else.
Right. So what I look for, whether any company because now that I've done a few of these, I'm getting pitches all the time. Like, hey, I heard you buy out your companies. Can you come fix mine?
You're like the Shark Tank.
Yeah. It's kind of like a little mini cannabis Shark Tank kind of thing. But usually not for a startup that needs funding. So I don't really do that. It's like a fallen angel. Where, something happened. They lost a supplier, they lost a customer, the industry hit a downturn that year, they expanded too fast and blew their payroll. There's a million things that can go wrong in a startup. Or a young company, when I say, not say startup, but, a smaller company. And, capitalism isn't perfect. The best ideas, the best companies don't always thrive and have everything go right for them. Right. Things go wrong that's not, not just by mismanagement, just shit happens. Mm-hmm. So when that happens, what I try to do is find the gems, if you will, the ones where there's great technology that really should exist, find a way to save them, fix them, turn them around. And so, sometimes I'm active in management, sometimes I'm passive, just, put in money and a little bit of advice. SCYNCE and Dual Draft right now, I'm acting CEO. So how I do it is a little bit different case by case.
Right.
But that's that's the story of how somebody who had no experience in cannabis is now owning and operating a couple equipment companies.
What was the most surprising? Because I'm sure you had like preconceived notions about everything cannabis related, as did I. What was the most surprising thing you learned after entering the industry?
The complete messiness of everything, because of the federal and state law conflicts, the state-by-state regulations, the way they issue licenses, how it's different in every state. It makes it really, really hard. And anytime there's things that make it harder to operate freely in a free market kind of thing, more distress ends up showing up because something else happens. Like, one state turns down or another, a price collapse here, they issue too many grow licenses and the price collapse, and then half the people have to figure out how to survive,
Right.
So the messy nature of the regulatory side of this causes another whole wave of problems that aren't just in a normal young industry. Because you think about legal cannabis as being a young industry. Cannabis is not a young industry. Legalized cannabis is.
Right. So you're 2 years in right now, and tell me about SCYNCE, like the technology that you have, because it seems like you're with the right company.
Yes. So SCYNCE was basically the pioneer in the spectrum adjustable light. So now a lot more other companies are coming around to this idea. 3 or 4 years ago, people are probably like, yeah, it's a bit of a gimmick or whatever. But now that a lot of the plant responses to different colors of light at different times in their growth, or even throughout the cycle of a day, have all been really well documented. A lot more people are understanding that having the ability to change the spectrum of your light dynamically during the day throughout a grow period is valuable. You can make better quality flower, better yield. So a lot more people are coming around to it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But it's actually the optics on these lights that is actually, I think, the better driver of plant performance than the spectrum. I mean, spectrum is kind of what we're known for.
Yeah.
But the other patent we have, other than the spectrum adjustment stuff, is on any horticultural light optic that delivers more power of light at angles than it does straight down, is covered by the SCYNCE patent. And the reason that's important, if you picture a whole room full of lights and light coming in from different angles, it's much easier to make it around the leaves and deeper in the canopy from angles than straight down.
Oh.
So you bathe the plant in light, your lower bud sites that might be B or C buds in your sorting before are now top shelf. That's a huge revenue benefit.
Yeah.
And where I was a discussion yesterday, lighting panel, where it's like, all right, under canopy, yes or no? Well, if your top light is good enough and you're getting the penetration, you don't necessarily need an under canopy. Under canopy has been a big thing in the last couple of years, right? So we've seen some customers that use our lights with the optics, and they tried under canopy, like, yeah, it was a marginal improvement. Some other lights without optics, they put under canopy in, and they see 15-20% more yield.
Wow.
It's because the whole plant wasn't getting properly lit. So you either can do it once from the top light, or you can use, if you've got old fixed spectrum, non-optic top lights, but you don't want to rebuild your whole room, well, we can sell you an under canopy spectrum adjustable light so you can pick up both without having to redo the top. But if you are going to redo it, just use the SCYNCE light with the optics and the spectrum once and you're done. So different strokes for different folks. A lot of people are in the retrofit world and trying to survive, so you don't want to rebuild everything. You make the best of what you've got. So whether it be fixed spectrum under canopies, the traditional ones that other guys are selling, those are perfectly good. And if you don't have the right top light, that's great. So anyway, it's been an adventure.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been in cannabis for 20. How'd you learn this stuff so fast? Like, you really sound like an expert with 30
I've been
years.
deep immersion therapy. It's like, if you want to learn Chinese, go sit in China for 2 years.
Right.
It's like if you want to learn cannabis and plant science and engineering of lights, sit in a lighting company for 2 years, and you'll absorb it fast.
Do you have like an obsessive personality? That's something I'm learning about a lot of successful people.
I will
in the
read
industry.
and learn everything. Look, it's my money. Like when I invest in a company, it's not other people's money, third party. I don't have a fund. It's my money.
Right.
So I take it seriously.
You better know what the hell you're investing in. So have you ever, like, these companies that you worked with, are they familiar with Rebates? Have they worked with green rebates? Like, what's your experience with rebates in general?
Yeah, so what we try to do is just make whatever's best for the customer within our bandwidth. So for a prescriptive rebate, we will just do it internally or help the customer do it, and accept the rebate, assignment of the rebate, same as cash for the customer, which, by the way, can be problematic when somebody like Excel Energy in Colorado decides they're not going to pay the rebates for 6 months. That was fun.
Right.
But our philosophy on the more complicated rebates is that, like, on the really simple stuff, we'll help the customer, we'll do it. For the other things, there's a time and place for an expert. Whether, if you're a home repair, auto repair, whatever, you know when you're over your head, call an expert. So for the more complicated rebate ones, what we tell the customer is, okay, there's a variety of rebate companies out there. Here's a couple that we know. You should talk to each one of them. Check out their credentials.
List, right?
Yeah, you're one of them. Okay. So it's a customer selection, not us, because ultimately it's their money that's being spent on the advisory work. And what we tell them is that work with somebody who's going to know what they're doing, because they're going to probably find you more incremental money than the fee that they're going to charge you. So it's going to be accretive.
Right.
Can't guarantee that, but talk to them and find out.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and for telling people about green rebates. You're right over there, so we'll chat more in a little bit. But is there any closing words you wanted to give the people out there, or have we covered everything?
We covered a lot. It was a lot in a short time.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
Nice to meet
you.